Our first guest tonight is an Emmy award-winning actor, writer, and director you know from his work on Saturday Night Live, documentary now, and Trainwreck. New episodes of his hit show, Barry, airs Sunday nights on HBO and are available to stream anytime on HBO Max. Let's take a look.
Talking to Sally Reed, it's spelled R-E-E-D. The show's called Joplin. Talking to Sally Reed. You all set? All right.
Hey, Sally.
Hey.
Here's Madeline from E! News.
Sally Reed, how you doing, girl?
I'm good.
Now, the show takes place in Joplin, and you were raised there.
That's right.
Is that really what Joplin's like?
Well, it's a lot less freezing on set.
Okay, great, thanks.
Please welcome back to the show our very good friend Bill Hader, everybody! Hello, friend.
Hey, buddy.
How are you?
How are you, man? I'm good, man. I'm good.
We've been talking a great deal via text because I'm really obsessed with this season of the show. It's a fantastic cast, and that clip is just to set it up for anybody who isn't watching. She has written and created a show, and that is a press junket that people like you have had to do over the years when you're in a movie or for Barry. And is it as much like that as you have written it in the show?
Yes, press junkets are not fun, and that one is based on, I was in a movie called Skeleton Twins, and in that movie, my character attempts suicide, hilarious, and I was in Australia, and the guy, I was being interviewed, and the guy was, he said, so, you know, you try to commit suicide in this film, and you know, that's a big epidemic here in Australia. So can you tell us a bit about it? You know, what you think about suicide? And I was like, oh, well, suicide. I mean, it's awful, and you know, the character, what he's going through. You know, he feels hopeless, and then the guy cut me off and went, we're running out of time, real quick. What do you think about Ben Affleck as the new Batman? It just was like,
Oh my God, that does make my next question awkward. What do you think about Robert Pattinson as the? Sorry, once I write it down, Bill, I have to ask it. So, have you ever I would also imagine one of the problems is, you know, when it's 5 minutes, which a lot of these, these reporters' defense, they often only have 5 minutes.
Yes, that's true.
So they want to ask, you must get the same questions all the time. Have you ever thought of making up answers that weren't true?
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of, you know what it is? You go on these things and I can tell you the movie, if it was like I was in It 2 and everything was like, did you read the book? Have you ever met Stephen King? And, you know, did you see the first movie? And, you know, it didn't matter what language it was in. You would go to another country and you didn't have to speak language. Be like, I did read the book. I have not met Stephen King. I did see the first movie. But I don't know. Yeah, I wish I could make something up. Yeah, just be like, and then, you know, there was that fire. And well, we all know about the fire.
One of the things about Barry that I've been talking to you about, I've seen a few more episodes, I think, that have aired at this point. There's some incredible action sequences. There's some incredibly tense, dramatic scenes. As a director, have you been lucky enough to talk to other directors over the year? Because it does feel like, I mean, I know you to be somebody who loves movies, and it does seem like you borrow from all your favorites stylistically.
Yeah. I mean, you know, a lot of credit to, say, Carl Hersey and the DP on some of those episodes. That, you know, we work really close together, and but yeah, you know, it is neat to get texts or emails from people you really admire. But my problem, and I don't know if you relate to this when we were at SNL, is like your heroes would come in, like Martin Scorsese came in to do a bit on Update, and you know, someone told me, like, Bill, you got to get out of his dressing room, because I was just asking him like 100 questions. And like, I think the minute I walked in, he went, uh-oh, geek. he's been dealing with this since like 1975. And I'm like, hello, Mr. Scorsese. And Steven Spielberg did a Laser Cats, and, they don't want to hear,
Well, I think I remember you telling me, because I think this really speaks to the kind of geek you are. When Steven Spielberg showed up at SNL, tell everybody the movie you asked him about. Everybody here, make your guess of the Steven Spielberg movie.
I said, how did you get a specific shot in Sugarland Express? Which is the first feature film he made before Jaws. And he kind of looked at me like, is that even on DVD?
He was like, I'm not sure I directed that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and Lauren was like, Bill, just can you please get off of his lap? The man's just trying to eat.
I am genuinely curious because I keep having friends now who their kids are teenagers, and I know your oldest is 12, that they start finding old SNLs, our era SNLs. But do your kids, they're 12, 9, and 7, I think, right? Is that?
Yeah. My daughters, they like the current season a lot, and I will watch it with them, and then I turn to them and say, I used to be on this show. And they say, yeah, you keep telling us that. And but one night I did peek into my daughter's room, and she and her friend had the laptop open and they were watching Stefan. And so they think you are related to them. No, no, but they were very confused.
Yeah, Stefan's gonna be a fun one to break down over the years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, that's one for them and their therapist.
You were kind of known as the impression guy at SNL, but you obviously have Barry and, a lot of other things right now on your plate. And I feel like there's been a vacancy, and I think I'm kind of the impression guy now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I do the impressions.
Wait, when did
now.
you do it? Wait, but did you do impressions on the show? I don't remember you.
No, I think out of, I think out of deference to you and respect, I kind of let you have that. It felt like that was the thing you needed at the time, and then, but I do the impression. I do the impressions now. I do them.
All right.
I do Pacino now. I do it.
Well, let's see it.
Okay, but before I do it, don't do it after me.
Let's see it.
Okay. All right, ready? This is my Al Pacino. Ready? I'll see you in the Zoom room.
I'm so glad I had not seen that before I did my Al Pacino.
Yeah. I should have told you to turn off the camera first.
That was really... I had no idea you had the skill set.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like once you left the building, I feel like all your skills came, I inherited them. So just if you don't mind letting everybody else know that's me now.
Who else can you do?
I can do, you want to hear Vince Vaughn? Okay, ready? Okay, here's my Vince Vaughn, ready? Buddy, buddy, buddy. Pretty good, right? Bill? Oh, there he is. He came back.
Wait, do it again?
Okay, wait, and now I'm gonna do Michael Keaton. Just ask me any question.
Oh, how do I get to 30 Rock?
Oh, sorry, it's gotta be a yes or no question. It's one of my newer ones.
Oh, okay.
Okay, hold on.
Am I in 30 Rock?
No.
That was good. Wait,
See, at first you had doubts, but now you know I'm the impression guy now.
Do Vince Vaughn again.
Do Vince Vaughn again? Buddy, buddy, buddy. This must be so weird for you to realize the torch has been passed.
I'm just so happy I did not know that while you were there. I would have been super in my head. Because that's really solid.
Yeah.
You're not on SNL, you're just doing these on your show.
Yeah, I'm just doing them here now. Bill, I really, this season is spectacular. And it constantly, I was a fan of the first 2 seasons. I'm just blown away by how you've raised the bar. And it's just so lovely to see you, buddy. I love you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Love you, man.
All right, you guys, that's Bill Hader. New episodes of Barry air Sunday nights on HBO and are available to stream anytime on HBO Max. We'll be right back with Minnie Driver.